If you want to see me create a second look with the Warrior 3 palette, then stick around. Hi there, it's Hélène, and yes, we are going to do another look using the Warrior 3. This is technically going to be the third time that I use this palette. The first time I did absolutely want to use some blues, and I ended up using this one and this one. Doesn't look quite blue, but there is a blue-ish aspect to it. And I used a number of other colors. I used this one for sure, and this one up here. And this one is one that I used again on another day, and I used it on the inner to two-thirds of the lid with a kind of brownish taupey colored look. So I ended up later on in the day just adding this on, and it looks more burgundy in the pan, but it turns out to be more of a pinkish fuchsia on the eye. So it's the mattes in this palette don't necessarily look exactly like they would once you apply them to the eye. And I think part of it is the fact that it has a blue background. It does kind of change the shadow, the perception of the color in the pan, which is why I don't like colorful backgrounds. But I think you can tell with the finger that it's more of a fuchsia than what the pan looks like. And also I think the pan itself makes, because of the depth of the color, the amount of shadow in here makes it look deeper than it does when you pick up some color. So anyway, third time using this palette, but second look on camera, and I'm sitting down and I haven't actually decided what I'm going to do with the palette. Given that I did use the blues, I'm thinking that I'm going to go more so with maybe these two colors. And I am kind of curious about this one. So let me just swatch this one to see. Looks like it might be a bit of a transformer top because it's sheer. So I might try to use that on the center lid. I might do a little bit of a test on my hand here and see what's going on with those three colors. Yeah, I think I'm liking it, so let's do that. I'm going to use these two colors and then use this one to do a little bit of a transformation on the center lid. I think that might look good. Yeah, I'm game. Let's see what happens. I think I'm going to do a halo eye, which I don't do very often. We are going to just dive in and see what happens. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into this purple, and it's kind of a purple that has a little bit of fuchsia in it. I'm going to dust it very nicely on my crease and outer lid, and then pack it on a lot more. So it should end up looking sort of like two different colors. So for that purpose, I'm going to use this fluffy crease brush and go right into Canvas, which is this one right here. And Canvas I had used quite a bit on the outer lid on the other look. And I forgot there's no mirror on this palette, so I'm going to have to grab a mirror. So I'm going to use the Complexionista from Benefit here to give myself a mirror. Okay, here we go. Hopefully you can see me. I'm trying to get a little bit more into frame here. And we're going to just tap it so that we're not doing too much color all at once. And it turns a little bit more into a pinky fuchsia than a really deep color. And if you're curious about what I had on my eyes before this, I had the Boing Industrial, no, I had the Cover FX kind of a fleshy toned as an eye primer, and I just used the Naked Basics, the first one from Urban Decay, and used those powders to to give myself a base. If you're curious about anything else on my face, it is in the description box. You can take a look. There's a peach undertone to Candace as well. It's a very interesting mix of colors, and it does give just a natural gradient even though I'm not trying, which is kind of neat. I'm going to just go in one more time. Hopefully you can see that I've got some shadow on the brush. It seems to be hard to see on camera, but it's there. And at least in the viewfinder, I never know exactly what you can see until I have the joy of editing. I'm just deepening up the crease and trying to do a decent gradient all through. I'm going to go with a different brush to do the halo effect, assuming I don't change my mind, which I'm known to do. Okay, and I really like the color. I'm going to drag it down with my angled brush. So here is my angled brush, and I'm going to go into Candace again. And I want to make sure I get it on the correct side of the brush. I'm just going to stamp to begin with, and then blend the color a little bit. So that looks pretty good. And I'm just going to go a little bit more toward the inner lid. Okay, that's looking quite nice. And now that I don't have as much on the brush, I can just kind of blend it out a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty, or feeling pretty effortless. And I have as much as I want of Candace at this kind of level. I don't want to go any further with that, but I do want to clean up a little bit in here. It looks a little splotchy. And so I'm going to use a fluffier brush, and this one is from BH Cosmetics, and it's the Studio Pro 5. I'm just going to try to remove a little bit of that splotchiness of Candace in just under the inner brow. And that worked pretty nicely. I have a little bit of fallout, but nothing big. Okay, so now I was talking about doing a halo eye. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to intensify Candace in the inner lid, on the inner lid and on the outer lid, and then do probably, I feel like doing, am I going to change my mind again? I was going to go with yellow, but I think I'm going to go in with this one on the center lid. I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so let's go in with Candace more, with more emphasis on the inner to outer lid, and then we'll figure out what I'm doing for the center lid. So to deepen up Candace, I'm going to go in with my pyramidal brush, and it's called the Multitasker brush from Smashbox. And we're going to go into Candace again with more intensity. You can see the nice color it has. It's going to tap off a little bit so it doesn't go all over the place. I'm going to go right into the inner lid. Good, that looks good. So we're going to keep going. I really, really love colorful mattes like this. Colorful mattes can make you look like you have so much more talent than you actually have. At least I'm speaking for myself. Mattes are so easy to blend, so easy to manipulate, that if you want to dabble in color and you're scared, mattes are fantastic. Now, of course, you want to follow your own eye shape. And I like what I have here. It's not quite as intense as I want at the top here. I usually go with a light color on the inner lid, but today we are doing something different. Okay, and I think that's enough, but I do want to connect the inner lid here to what I have down here because there's just this kind of gap, and I'm going to grab my really, really tiny smudger brush from Smashbox, and this is it right here. So I'm going to use that and go right back into Canvas and connect the two, hopefully with the intensity that I want here. Going back in with this one to do a little bit of cleanup because somehow the purple didn't stay in that one spot. Okay, so that looks good. And I'm going to go to the outer 1/3 of the lid with a kind of a packer brush. And I'm going to go with a dense brush from Smashbox called the Full Coverage Shadow Brush. And that should work quite nicely. So I'm going to go back into Canvas and do the outer 1/3 of the lid as I mentioned earlier. And I'm just going to connect the two at the top. So I'm leaving the center empty for the next color. And you know what? I am being a chicken because I said I was going to use that yellow, and I think I'm going to go back on my change and go back and use that yellow on the center lid that I'm then going to modify with that Transformer Blue Shimmer. I think that's what I'm going to do. I need to try new things, and I don't want to stay in my comfort zone, so I'm going to do that. First off, I'm going to just do a little bit of blending with this brush, my crease brush from Sephora, and that's just from a set. It was a set of 5 brushes. There's nothing fancy about it. And I just blended a little bit so it's not as harsh. And I'll just go back and intensify the purple canvas just a little bit again. I'd have to go back and forth a couple times to get it the way I want it. I'm realizing I need a smaller crease brush for some of this kind of stuff, because this is not the kind of brush that I should be using for that, and it's not going to help me do exactly what I want. So I'm having to go back and forth between 2 brushes. That is not ideal. Okay, but it seems to be working reasonably well, despite the fact that it's not ideal. Now, I want to go into Nzinga, this one right here, the yellow that I was going to try to rationalize my way out of, but we're going to use it. Let me find a brush that I think will work to use this color. I can't see any sort of perfect brush here, so I'm going to use a brush that is I'm probably going to regret, but I think it's going to allow me to go exactly the shape I want and then down. So here goes nothing. And I have the yellow on the brush. I'm just going to tap off the excess and let's see what happens. So I'm going exactly where I want to start and tapping down. Exactly where I want to start and tapping down. I think that looks quite pretty actually. So again, tapping off and trying to get more of that yellow, and probably, if you really want the maximum intensity, in retrospect here, I probably should have put a dab of concealer on the center lid. But now that I have enough of the shadow base, I think I'm going to go in with my ring finger and intensify the yellow by pressing my finger on the center lid. And that is working. There we go. That's quite pretty, actually. Why was I being such a chicken? A little bit more yellow right here. I don't want to go too far into it because then the blend won't be there. Okay, and I'm not interested in replicating what's on top on the bottom. I think that that would be a little weird, so I'd rather not. But I do want to use another color because I was talking about using this one as a bit of a transformer shade, and I think that that's what we should do next. So I wiped off my, should I use? Yeah, I'm going to use my ring finger and go into that transformer shade. Ooh, that's a lot. Just going to dab off, I have quite a bit on my finger, I'm just going to dab off some of it. And I can go back and pick more up if I want to. But I can always build up, but it's really hard to take some off. And what I want to do is go pretty much on the whole lid with this, but I'm just going to gradually go out. I'm going to go from the center in, or center out, I should say. It's like I have to pick up some more. Okay, again, going back in. And it's not doing what I was thinking it was going to do. It's kind of hiding the yellow, but it is, the yellow is intensifying the blue, which I'm not mad at. It's just not quite the same effect as I thought it was going to be. Again, I think I'm going to take the blue down on the outer lower lash line as well. In for a penny, in for a pound. Yeah, it looks a lot more light blue on top, and then it's a deeper blue on the outer lid and outer lower lid. Okay, well, definitely very different. I'm not upset with it. It's just different from what I was expecting, and so it's more of an aqua blue and then more of a midnight blue. Not midnight blue, but more toward what would you call it? A cobalt? Not cobalt. I can't tell. Turquoise up top and then blue on the outside. I don't know what else to call it, but I think I'm going to try to intensify the blue here on the outer lid. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to do the other eye, and then we will talk about how to finish the look. Okay, I think I have the two eyes pretty much the same, but I do want to make one addition, and that is that I think I want to use this color right here on the inner third of the eye to just kind of wrap the whole kit and caboodle all together, and I think that that is going to look good. So I think I'm going to use that small smudger brush that I was using for the purple. I cleaned it off, and I'm going to go into Karama, which is the transformer type shade that I used in the last look. And I just a tiny bit, I just want to connect the two so that, I need a mirror. Just want to connect the two so that I have, I don't know, more continuity. I think that that's going to look good. I have a little fluff on my brush. Okay, let's try this out. And that did absolutely nothing. Let's go back in. I picked up just a little bit more. There we go. Okay, I like that, you know, compared to the other side. I think it just finishes the look a little bit more. And it's turning the purple on the inner third more like a lilac color. So Karama is more of a transformer than the other blue that I was using. So this is Karama that I'm using right now, and this is Congo. And Congo is just not turning out to be the transformer I thought it was. And that's okay, we're learning how to use this palette. And yeah, I like what this did. Let me just put a little bit more on. Yeah, I don't mind this at all, and I actually want to use a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to use a liner. I'm going to end up wanting to use a kind of a deep purple liner, I think, to just kind of finish up the look, which is not a bad segue. We should talk about what I'm going to use to finish up the look. I think I just want to add a little bit more of that deep purple just to clean it up a little bit on the inner lid. And I'm going to go back to my multitasker brush from Smashbox. Just feel like it's getting a little splotchy for some reason. I don't know if I'm just accidentally rubbing on the mat with the other shadows as I'm going through and doing what I need to do. I don't know if it made all that much difference, but I would have been annoyed not to try to do a little something. I would say the shimmer on both sides is not exactly the same. Let me see if I can use my finger and fix that a little bit. I don't know if you can tell. This one is more of a going toward the outer V, and this one is more round. So I think I would like to make the round more round, if that makes sense. I'm going to go back into Congo, the non-transformer blue. My bad, I was remembering my swatches, and if you want to see the swatches video, I'll put it right here. I was remembering my swatches, and obviously I was not remembering the swatches correctly, which is on me for not watching my swatches video to help me out. I'm going to go back in with this fluffy brush and just take off the Congo. Yeah, Congo that is not helping me with achieving the round shape. Okay, and it looks like there's just a little bit more of Congo here than there is on that side, so I'm going to fix that right now. I'm actually going to use that tiny smudger brush and see if I can just get very precise with the placement. Okay, I think that's as close as I'm going to get both sides. So let's talk about how to finish the look. I think I don't mind the lip gloss that I have on. I don't mind a light lip gloss when I have a deeper look, so I'm not going to change my lip color. I don't think. It's what is it? The Becca Opal and Jade, and I think I'll just reapply that. Or I might switch it to another Becca. Anyway, I'm going to put a light lip gloss. I'll tell you what I ended up picking when I come back. Okay, here is the final look. I did end up changing my lip gloss. I was wearing the Becca Opal and Jade, and I switched it out for Topaz and Gilt because it has some blue flecks in it, or glitter, whatever you want to call it, and it's more of a pinkish purple shift, and I thought it would look obviously good with a pink and purple look. So that is what I did there. And I used definitely a purple liner from Urban Decay. You know what I'll do? A swatch of the, what's it called again? Topaz and Gilt. I was going to say the liner, the gloss, just in case you want to see what it looks like. So I used Ransom from Urban Decay. So we've got the lip gloss right here, which is Topaz and Gilt, and I think you can tell the blue in it. And this is Ransom, which I have on the lower lash line and waterline. And I also reapplied, as I said, the Zero, which is a black liner, on the upper waterline. And I used the Stila Stay All Day, which gives me a lot of precision. And that is on the upper lash line. And I went a lot thicker than what you see there, but anyway. And then I used the Hypnose Drama Mascara, 2 coats on my upper lashes, and it did transfer a little bit to my lower lashes, but I don't make a point of coating my lower lashes because they go down to literally right here, and it ends up just being too much for my taste. The only other thing that I have on my face apart from all that stuff is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. For any of my base makeup, please take a look in the description box. You can see all of it there. Now, what do I think of this second on-camera look with the Warrior 3? I would say that I'm okay with the look. I don't think it looks bad. I think it's just different from what I would normally do. And it just reinforces the fact that I want to play with these mattes again and just have a purple and yellow look. And I think that I'm going to just do the yellow and the Karama on the back of my hand, because I think that that's really the look I was going for, and I just picked the wrong color. Because Karama has some blue to it, and when you top a color with it, it does bring out some kind of metallic blue. Yeah, it does. So I just think that I used the wrong color over the yellow. That's what it's really telling me at this point. Yeah, I'm, again, not upset at this look. I think it looks fine, but I do really love the combo of yellow and purple, and so I have a desire to do more with those two, and I do kind of like the idea of a halo eye with these two, and probably a third color. I could see this color here or this color in the crease. So I'm definitely going to be playing with this palette again. And I do like it. I think it's a very solid palette, and it does some really interesting looks. Well, that is it from me. That is the second look on camera using the Juvia's Place Warrior 3 palette. I really like this palette. I look forward to playing with it some more. Please let me know, what is your favorite look? Is it the first look? Is it the second look? Do you have requests for the colors in this palette for maybe a third look on camera? Please let me know. This was a requested palette from the first edition of the Palette Roulette for 2020, and I am very happy to be able to do some looks for you. With that, I'll say thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it every single time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. But for now, take care.